Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PackerUniverse podcast, aka the Pup List. We're a Green Bay's. I always say Green Bay's, Ren. Green Bay Packer fan podcast. Wow, I'm great today. We like to bring you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. Yes, I can do this. This is episode 344. We're recording this live on a Thursday, January 22nd, 2025. What can I say? It's off season, and we're talking about coaches. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me, as always, is our MVP.
Ren, what up, Tay? Things get icy cold here, kind of like the DC search here in Green Bay. Nothing warm, nothing great happening. Some guys coming in and out of town, and it seems like some of those guys coming off the list here day by day. So the Packers better maybe get a move on, Tay, because the list gets shorter by the moment. How we doing on a Thursday, Tay?
I'm doing good. I mean, yeah, it's getting cold. You'd really hate for the Packers to host a home game in this stuff, and that, if they were a little better this year, think about that Sunday. The cold would have mostly kind of passed, and it's rebounding to like high of 10. But man, that would be frigid out in Lambeau on Sunday, or I guess it's NFC AFC championships.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a little silver lining, I guess, for us, whatever. But no, I'm doing good, Ren. This coaching carousel, we'll get to that in a minute. But first, I just wanted to tell you how much pleasure it was last Sunday evening watching the Bears lose. I watched it. I don't know if you did. You should have watched it. But
I did, Tay.
Again, you're like,
absolutely.
I felt like it was another Packers game, right, where it just kept evening up. It went into overtime. You felt sick every time the Bears did something great.
Hey, that rollout, Caleb dropping backwards 15 yards to the 40, and he throws it. I'm like, there's no way. And then it's wide the F open, Tay. I'm like, oh my God. Like, how you just had to give it to him at that point. What an amazing play. Like, somehow this guy this year had a shoehorn right up his ass. Just when it counted, Caleb made the big play, and you got to give it to him. And it was crazy. My wife was like, "Don't you kind of feel bad for him? It's been a long time. Don't you want to root for Joey?" And I'm like, No, sorry, Joey. Like, you're the Bears. Like, this is a rivalry. Yep. You hate your rivals. We love that the rivalry has stepped itself back up, but that just makes you dislike them even more.
Absolutely,
and that's what it's all about. You want to see your rival fail. You will never be like, well, maybe the Bears year. No, never the Bears year. Outside of Green Bay, Tay, there's one Super Bowl in the NFC North. We don't want any more than that. Like, Minnesota's got none. Detroit's got none. The Bears can have that one because they'll talk about it for all time. The 85 Bears. The Packers' 96 defense was as good, in my opinion. You can put them up against anything with the Packers' front four. I mean, Sean Jones, Reggie White, Gilbert Brown, missing Santana Dotson. I mean, they were incredible. Going off on a tangent here, but, That's all the Bears have to write home about for a long time still. It's going to be the 85 Bears. And listen, that team is set to come maybe a little back down to earth next year, Tay, because they did win so many games in the last moments of a game. And look at these teams that, surprise you one year, i.e. the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels. Where'd they end up, Tay? 4 wins? 5? Is that somewhere in that vicinity? Caleb is, listen, he's going to be, I think, a guy who stirs the drink there for a lot of years. He's going to be, a playmaker. We'll see if that completion percentage gets better than one of the bottom 10 in the NFL as a starting quarterback, because that's where it is. He's dynamic when he's not under center. When he rolls out, when he's got to make a play and he's under duress, guy makes plays. But in the confines and structures of an offense at this point, he doesn't. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. We know their defense is meh. The offensive line is great. Good skill players at the running back and the wide receiver position. But, I think the Bears are going to maybe take a step back next year. That's my little extra on the Bears. You brought it up, so I contributed.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear it. I think I would like to admit the Bears did something special this year for them. No one saw it coming. Congratulations, Ben Johnson, for getting that team up and ready and actually playing deep into the playoffs. Congratulations. Caleb Williams is turning into a good player. Yes, out of the pocket, he's dangerous, and the dude's got a lot of luck. I will give him that. But unpopular opinion to Bears fans, but this is coming from a Packers fan. I think he's lucky. I think he got a lot. I think the Bears got really lucky this year with a lot of different things and in a lot of different ways in our games, and other games as well. But honestly, that pass to Cole Kmet, I put it solely on that defensive backfield for the Rams. They screwed that up. Caleb was doing what he had to do. It's fourth down. He's running out of the pocket, dancing around, avoiding 3 rushers. He throws it up. What else could he do? Throw it away? No. You have to throw it in the end zone. Okay, that computes. Throws it up. Breakdown in the defensive backfield for the Rams, which allows the touchdown to happen. I will go to my grave saying that this was not the best pass of the year. It was, as a whole, a great pass, lucky pass, but do not put this all on Caleb Williams. He is on his best day, he's Brett Favre. On his worst day, he's Brett Favre. That dude was throwing 3 interceptions that game, crucial at huge moments in that game, just like our boy Favre did. The dude is lucky, but he's also a detriment and a risk. And so Ben Johnson's really got to rein that in. Otherwise, they got troubles, right?
Well,
so yeah,
Ben Johnson's got to rein his own self in because he went for it at fourth down. Crucial plays in that game where he should not have, didn't take points, especially in a divisional round game. You got to take the points. Cold day in Chicago. There were some really questionable calls made by Ben Johnson and, his thought process there throughout the course of that game that just make you scratch your head, man. But love to see it. Love to see it.
I love to see him lose. I mean, so to finish this off, Ren, I like my wife was hearing me shout expletives and curses at this Bears team and total elation afterwards, and where she was giving me the side eye, dude, are you okay? What's wrong with you? I'm I hate the Bears. This is the best feeling ever. I haven't felt this way since I don't even know when. It was great because the Packers were getting beat down, 5-game losing streak. We just couldn't get it done. And it just was you're in that spot, right, for the latter half of this, last couple months. So to see that, to have the meat taken down, I loved it so much. It was so good. I was just
Tay, whatever you need, talk to your sports therapist next week. I wanted them to lose, but the way I looked at it, even if they win, they'll be on their high horse. They'll be we're going to NFC Championship game. They would got the doors blown off in Seattle. That Seattle defense is the real deal. So I wasn't too concerned that they get past that. But yeah, they'd probably hang their hats on, the NFC Championship game. So for me, it was just at least that can go away now, and we can just watch 4 teams that we don't want to see win a Super Bowl play on Sunday. And speaking of that, Tay, and horseshoes up a posterior, the New England Patriots are likely just about to waltz in to another Super Bowl appearance. They're right back there. Bo Nix late in the game breaks his ankle. My God, the Patriots it's just imagine being a Patriots fan. We're Packer fans. They're always in the postseason, especially because there's a 7 seed, as we know. But we get brutal, heartbreaking losses. The Patriots have to go through a couple tough years, get a franchise quarterback, who's already, going to probably be the runner-up to MVP stays inside himself, looks really poised, says the right things in Drake May. And they're going to be right back in a Super Bowl after they had how many appearances in the last decade and a half, Tay? Too many to count. And there they are, just, going to waltz right back into one.
That's why I really wanted the Bills to win, but alas, they did not. So it's up to the Seahawks and the Rams to eliminate the Patriots again from being Super Bowl champions. Because I mean, come on, the Broncos are really gonna pull this off with their second quarterback. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think 2018 Nick Foles is, gonna live himself through Jared Stidham, Tay, and somehow the Broncos. Listen, they have a good defense. I think they could keep it relatively close. But
pull a Bruno.
The reality is, going from Knicks to Stidham is not a good position to be in, and it's unlikely to work out for Denver.
Well, we're gonna get to the more Packers-focused coaches stuff here, but just to bring everyone up to speed. Oops, let me get to this page here, Ryan. We got firings, right? We got head coach firings. Brian Callahan, the Titans, he was let go during the season. Brian Daboll, New York Giants cut. Raheem Morris was fired. Kevin Stefanski. Yeah, Dable, whatever. Daboll. Pete Carroll, Jonathan Gannon, John Harbaugh, and Mike McDaniel and Sean McDermott from the Bills all were let go. So tons of coaching, head coaching spots open this year. You move over to the hired. We got John Harbaugh going to the New York Giants for 5 years, like $100 million. He's getting like $20 million a year. Okay, good luck with that. I mean, obviously the Packers had, or there was rumored he might come to the Packers, but once you kind of heard his demands, that kind of fantasy kind of just blew up into smoke. That was never going to happen with I think his desire for control too. So good luck with that, John, up there in New York. I mean, best of luck. That's a huge job to undertake there. Atlanta Falcons hire Kevin Stefanski, the former Browns coach. Good luck with that too. Jeff Hafley then gets hired. We knew this was coming to the Miami Dolphins. Connection to the new GM there. John Eric, right?
Eric Sullivan. Likes to call himself Sully. Tay. We'll get to Sully we'll get to Sully in half later. We're talking nicknames.
And then Robert Saleh inked the deal with the Tennessee Titans for a 5-year deal.
Since this posting here, Tay, I know the Baltimore Ravens have also hired their head coach. It was a quizzical hire. I forget who directly that was. So their vacancy is off the board. Obviously, the Bills have an opening. The Steelers, where Mike McCarthy is going for, I believe, a second interview, are hiring. So there's some openings still here yet to be resolved. Could, as people say, Mike McCarthy go to Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers rejoin him for one more hurrah? We'll see.
Kind of funny.
Pittsburgh, but I mean, it was a very, very wide open coaching cycle, and we're also hearing the Minnesota Vikings will retain Brian Flores, their defensive coordinator. He is under contract. Only can leave if he does actually get a head coaching offer. But he will be back more than likely with the Vikings. And our guy from Miami, the former head coach there, is now going to be the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. That'd be McDaniels. So
just one Daniel.
Moving fast.
You were referencing the Ravens, and they hired Jesse Minter, who was the Chargers defensive coordinator. So you were talking about it, so let's get over there, Ren. Here's the Packers. So obviously we have a vacancy at the defensive coordinator, and we've gone through. I mean, this week's been kind of crazy up and down with names and such thrown around. So I kind of categorized them into 4 different categories: interviewed and possible candidates still off the table, and then my last question to you is promote within. So interview, we Durante Jones, the Vikings pass game coordinator and defensive back. He's been interviewed. You had recently, yesterday, I think it was, Al Harris, former Packer, longtime Packer. CB, he was interviewed. He's currently the Chicago Bears defensive backs coach and defensive pass game coordinator for the Bears.
Yeah, and that'd be Packer Hall of Famer Al Harris.
Packer Hall of Famer, yep. And then Jonathan Gannon, who was the former Cardinals head coach. He was also former Eagles defensive coordinator. And then Christian Parker signed with the Cowboys. I think he was the Eagles DC or one of the coaches there, right?
So Christian Parker, he's the young up and comer. Tay. He was he followed Vic Fangio from Denver to Philly. Obviously that great defensive backfield. He coached them in Philly. We're talking about the guy we wish we would have drafted a couple years ago in the defensive back / safety out of Iowa. Basically, this is the guy. When I first heard candidates, I'm like, this is the intriguing one to me. My favorite when I first heard these D coordinator guys. And, one thing you'll see is a familiar kind of thing throughout as we'll continue to talk about these. Defensive backs coaches are majority of all these interviews, Tay, which is interesting. We know that the Packers DBs are not great when we're talking about cornerbacks. The safety room is pretty full. But, my guy, Christian Parker, the Cowboys said, nope, he ain't getting another interview in Green Bay. He's going to be here, and we're gonna lock him down right now. So Fangio disciple. There really haven't been Fangio disciples who have actually spread their wings and worked out in the NFL. So maybe they dodged a bullet. But, again, a super young talent with regard to Christian Parker. My favorite, Al Harris, Tay, was, speaking of those Cowboys, he was there just a couple of years ago with Big Mike McCarthy, fundamentals, and moved on to Chicago. And listen, just like the Dallas Cowboys when Al was there, had a ton of picks. So did the Chicago Bears this year. That D backfield was a little dicey, but they did, in fact, lead the NFL in takeaways. So, definite good thing there. Jonathan Gannon is a weird one, Tay. He's obviously a head coach for 3 years in Arizona. What do we got here with Gannon? 15-36 record over 3 seasons, Tay. He was the Eagles DC back when they won their first Super Bowl. That would be with Nick Foles. Kind of called a quirky personality. A lot of people felt this guy, he'll get an interview maybe, but maybe not a Packers kind of guy. Maybe not a Packers kind of fit. So be interesting if this ends up being the guy. But the big one, you have possible candidates on there. I've heard nothing about Raheem Morris. Some people call that kind of the dream candidate, right? Former, as you've got it there, former Falcons head coach with Washington, with Atlanta, and coached with McVay. We'll see if that one comes to fruition. But we mentioned up front, the big one off the table, Brian Flores. And then you've got some promote within Covington, who was getting some interviews. I think Dallas interviewed or wanted to interview him. And then Derek Ansley, who was a couple of years ago the Chargers defensive coordinator. Remember, we're like, no, we don't want this guy to be the DC, Tay. Yeah. This is a big no. So you hope maybe not promote within there. And then the big one is Jim Leonard to be interviewed next week. Whether or not Denver wins, even if they were to win, Tay, there is that 2-week gap between the Super Bowl. Guys can interview, but obviously if they lose, it removes a lot of that there. Another guy, DB coach, pass game coordinator, assistant head coach. His defense has been first in points allowed, and they love to blitz out in Denver. Obviously, here's the interesting part. If we remember back when they hired Joe Barry, you remember who their number one guy was?
No.
They wanted to hire Jim Leonhard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jim Leonhard said, I'm going to stick with Wisconsin because I think I'm going to get the head coaching job. Wah, wah, wah. They did not go with Jim. They went a completely different direction, and ultimately he missed his opportunity. So do things actually come back full circle, and maybe Jim Leonhard ends up finally coming to Green Bay?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know personally. Like, I don't have a really good feel about any of these guys. The Al Harris thing, I just don't think that's great. I think he's a good sub coach, but to do the whole defense, I don't see it. And Jim Leonhard, it sounds great. Sounds like a fairy tale ending, maybe launching, coming back to Wisconsin. I mean, he's kind of in a good position there with Denver. So would you want to leave for a DC position in Green Bay unless that's what you wanted? I don't know. And I just I get a vibe that people either really hate Jim Leonhard and why bother? He wasn't good enough then. Now why is he good enough now? Kind of thing. I don't know. The Raheem Morris thing. Sure. I don't know. I don't see anything there that would bring more to the table than I think we need. I don't want to promote within. I just think we need outside help. I just don't trust that process for the Packers. Really, to me, it's never worked out great. I mean, can you name 2 or 3 guys that it's worked out with above and beyond your expectations? It just hasn't worked out with special teams from us to promoting within. So I don't know. I just I don't really have a strong opinion, but I would probably out of these candidates proposed here, Jim Leonhard, maybe a Raheem Morris, Al Harris, sure. But I guess that's kind of it for me. I just don't know. And maybe it's someone that we don't know. Maybe it's someone that is going to be, again, like we did with Hafley, pull him out of college or get some fresh blood in here. Obviously, Hafley interviewed with Matt and he just loved him. So you never know if that could happen again, right? Lightning strikes twice, where you pick up a good college coach that just knocks the interview out of the park. And it's just yeah, let's do this. And it just kind of sucks to me though, that we lost Hafley. It's we got to start over again. And ultimately, I don't know if I trust this process again. We did hit a home run with Hafley. We were on the right track, for better, for worse, in the last half of the year. Right. But we were in a good position. And now that he's taken away, it's now we got to start over again. So I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this one, Ren, of getting someone on his par level or above. I just don't feel like this is going to happen for us, and we're going to end up with the dregs or something, right? And that's just kind of my vibe and how I'm feeling this is going to happen and take place. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm eating crow in a couple weeks when we have some stud that everyone loves, because I think that's the kind of feeling we had when we did hire Jeff Hafley. I don't see it happening again. Do you?
I mean, he's an interview man. We knew once he was starting to get head coaching interviews. I think he got one last year, Tay, but this time he got a ton in the cycle. Players love the guy. Guys play for him because he's I don't know if you listen to his Miami presser, a lot of great things to say about Matt LaFleur. Mm-hmm. Said, two of the best years of his life were in Green Bay. Got so many, texts of love from all the players. Can't say enough good things about being there, about Matt LaFleur, about the whole thing. And they were close, as he said. Wished him well, except that one time they play next year at Lambeau. We know the Dolphins will be one of the opponents. He's up there with his guy, Sully, John Eric Sullivan. Brian Gutekunst's right-hand man, former VP of player personnel. I mean, he literally, like Sully was saying, he mirrored Brian Gutekunst through his whole career. When Brian was the scout of the Southeast, right after Brian left that position, he was a scout of the Southeast. And then each move they made up, Sully just was one behind the whole time. So now he kind of brings his Green Bay South thing there. People predict Malik Willis will follow as well. Nobody would be surprised. And speaking of, maybe shaking up this coaching staff, and I think, pretty much all of us in PackerUniverse would be okay with. Sounds like there's a good possibility that Stenovich will also join them in that coaching staff down in Miami. So that's where this whole thing was going to. But yeah, Jeff's great, Tay. I mean, it's hard where you find somebody so passionate about the game. Obviously, he did have some NFL experience before leaving back to Boston College. He was with the Niners in a capacity, so he had some time, and he was with the right people there. We know the Niners churn out great coaching candidates, and I was honestly surprised to see Robert Saleh even be in the coaching mix right away again. But
same.
Tennessee's kind of a black hole. I guess you take the job if you really want to be a head coach, but it might be his last chance.
Well, 5-year deal. I mean, they might not honor that, but a 5-year deal is pretty significant.
Yeah. I honestly, going back to the question with, do we get a Halfley in here this year and we're all that excited about him? I doubt it. If it is Jim Leonhard, I think the name and the promise of that, Jim Leonhard's always, he's a small guy that's always played bigger than his size. And I think he coaches the same way. He just is always angling for the best and getting the best results because he's a try-hard guy. I think that's the most exciting candidate that the Packers could end up with, but we'll see who they ultimately do end up with, because I think for most of us, it's going to be a bit of a letdown from Jeff Halfley.
Yep. And I think that's just, from our experience and our expectations now, and, seeing something that you liked disappear and go somewhere else. So that was kind of like, that's what's going on with the Packers right now. We need to find a defensive coordinator and maybe subsequently some other coaches underneath that person. But what we didn't talk about was the extension of the MLF, Matt LaFleur. We all kind of knew it was happening. The indications last week, Ren, was that they're going to, get the MLF deal going and done. And then they were going to work on extending Brian Gutekunst and then also subsequently extending Russ Ball.
Right.
So the first one was Matt LaFleur, done. I guess, I think we kind of know our comments on that. We talked about it last week, but just briefly, are you okay with this?
Yeah, based on, again, the coaching cycle. I mean, obviously that after last week, you get another job opening with McDermott. Man, I don't know if you heard some of that Terry Baguglia stuff in Buffalo, the owner, and then the GM Bean. But my God, it's a dumpster fire, Tay. Just be glad we don't have an owner, number one, especially not that guy. If somebody does have to have an owner, and then retaining that GM who basically threw the coach under the bus. And he's a guy in Bean that he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He's jumped on. I heard this week somebody play radio bites from him a couple of years ago, just calling a show like you and I are doing right now and bitching about them, bitching about stuff. You're like, my God.
Drama.
If the Packers had a GM that would call a show and do that, how embarrassing would that be? Like, super thin skin. So, if you're a Buffalo fan, man, you got to just be feeling upset to your stomach, because this is who's leading your football team in this moment, and you still have a coaching vacancy. Not a good thing. But with LaFleur, there again, going back to it, too many coaches available or spots available. Matt probably would be, through all those 9 choices, he would have been the first or second choice for all those teams.
Yeah.
So not time to pull the plug based on that. Unfortunately, the way the Packers are, we know that Goody and Ball also are getting their extensions. Even though LaFleur did get his extension, they've leaked absolutely zero of that. And they, in Green Bay, feel like they don't need to tell us anything of what that deal looks like from a years and cash standpoint, which is just, come on, Green Bay, as some people call it red China. Like, that's ridiculous. I understand this is not a player contract thing where it has to be public knowledge, but release the terms. Eventually, we're going to get it. But
Eventually, yeah.
like, what's the big secret thing here? Just tell us what the years and what the approximate money is, and move on. And Goody hasn't even done an end of the year presser. Like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. It's like it's the Packers sometimes are like, they like overshare, sometimes in certain moments, but then most of the time they're just like shrouded in mystery and like, being conservative. And like, yeah, like I was watching some of Rob Domofsky's tweets, and it was like people were like, where's Goody? And he's like, well, he's not going to speak. Rob saying this, paraphrasing. Rob's like, he's not going to speak until he gets his deal done. It's like, what? Well, doesn't he have a job? Like, don't you just, hello? Like, don't you have a responsibility to talk to, to people? It's like, so
give us the end of the season presser, man. Get up there, do your job.
All this stuff is
you're
going to be
not
anyway.
get an extension, Goodikins.
I know.
Like, come on, man. You know
like,
that, Brian. You're getting that. Just go do your presser.
It's just like they keep this stuff close to the vest and like don't say it. And like we don't hear things about the coaching staff till sometimes months later, and it's just strange. It is very strange to kind of do that. But whatever, I don't get it. But when you're talking about big names, the head coach and the GM, it's just like, let's go here. Matt LaFleur had to do his end of the year thing. He did it, but Brian, let's get out there. What are you trying to hide, if anything? And why not talk about it? Like, this is a public owned team. We're going to find out anyway. So let's do it. It's just,
and what have we really heard since the end of the season from them?
Nothing.
We heard
Matt.
We heard they're interested in doing an extension for all these guys.
So hearsay.
Then we hear about the extension, and then we hear obviously from the beat like a few names of guys they interviewed because they're flying in and out of town, get leaked, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, what again? The secretiveness of the franchise at times, it's just weird. So it's too much. Like, I get, like, you want to keep some things business, but again, you guys are publicly owned. Give the public what they want to a degree.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And honestly, it's mostly, to me, obviously the rest of the world wants to know, but the Packers fans and the shareholders, I'm sure they want to know what's going on with the team. I mean, we just kind of like, we blew up in the first round, and people want to know, and there's holes in the coaching staff. I mean, we want to know what's going on, and to not to talk to the media. It's just like, it's strange to me. Very strange.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
One more thing I want to bring up, Ren. It is our boy, Micah Parsons, got named as a finalist for the Associated Press NFL Defensive Player of the Year. This is his 4th nomination in his 5 years, Ren. I just wanted to give a shout out to Micah Parsons because, hey, I mean, the dude got injured in the Bronco game and he's still being nominated. This is how big of an impact he has. And the other 5 finalists are listed here on the screen. Will Anderson Jr., the defensive end for the Houston Texans. Nick Bonito, the linebacker for the Broncos. Myles Garrett, defensive end, Cleveland Browns. Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions, defensive end also. And then our boy, Micah Parsons. So I just wanted to point this out because I think it's still incredible that he, made this list even after being injured, part of the year. And he's really being held in good company here with the rest of these 4 other players. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got a good chance to do it, but he probably won't. It'll probably go to Will Anderson, my bet.
No, it's miles by a mile. Not even close. I mean, sack record this year, Tay. The physical makeup of one Myles Garrett is incredible. The multiple sack games. The man is just, he's the Reggie White of his generation. Just speed to power. It's incredible. Just the body size. Mike is a fantastic player, and I think at one point, while he's a member of the Green Bay Packers, he's going to win one of these things. This is not the year, but certainly, I mean, Mike can still be listed in the top 5 here. The big guys who get named as Defensive Player of the Year are the guys who stir the drink, and that means the guys who get to the quarterback. That is the most important position on the defensive side of the ball, and he's definitely, needs to be and is mentioned with them. But I don't know how you don't know that Myles Garrett wins it by a mile, Tay.
I'm trying to project this because I dislike Myles Garrett personally. I think he's a
If he was a Packer,
horrible,
immediately you would love this guy.
Yeah, even then I would be like, dude's I can't even describe. These are the words I save for Bears players after they get their butt kicked in the playoffs. These are the kind of names I save for that within my own household. But I don't like Myles, and that's probably why I'm secretly hoping he doesn't win.
I don't know what you got against him, man. The dude is he is a specimen of a defender, and
yeah, I mean he's a good physical player, but I think off the field and personality wise, he's leaves a lot to be desired. I think it started when he took the helmet off of what's his name from Pittsburgh.
Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is probably a big D bag, Tay. I can see that. I can see Mason Rudolph earning that slap to the face or whatever he got.
I don't know. To remove a helmet,
he just looks like one of those guys, man. Mason Rudolph looks like he had that coming.
But anyway, Micah, I hope you win. You're not going to win, but I hope you win. And hope you're on this list next week or next year, not next week.
Team Miles over Team Pittsburgh Steelers backup quarterback for sure.
Maybe Rodgers will be back. That'd be nice. Him and McCarthy get one more year, but Rodgers looked like an old man back there that last game, so I just don't see it happening.
No, they got to draft one. Maybe you do need a veteran stopgap for a year, but they need to kind of blow that thing up today and kind of restart in Pittsburgh.
Well, Ren, we can look forward to, I don't know, next week maybe when we do get a coaching staff change announcement. We'll see. Maybe we hire a presser from Goody. We'll see. But and I guess until then, it's not like anything is newsworthy. I mean, we did release Trevon Diggs, the defensive back we picked up from off of waivers from the Cowboys, but we saved a little money doing that, but he cleared waivers, so he's a free agent, so that kind of tells you a little something there.
He cleared waivers before last time, and the Packers are the only one who said, we'll pay you the $500K for technically one snap in the Bears game, but Bears playoff game. But when it came to releasing him, they had to, because if you didn't, you essentially were taking his contract extension that he got. Yeah,
it's like $15 million or something on the
which
cap.
Is way too much money, and you knew they never were going to do that. Not to say they don't, have mutual interest in each other come free agency. They very well may, but the Packers aren't going to overpay for Trevon Diggs, and nor should they. This is a guy that's maybe going to get $3 to $6 million a year on a probably 1 year prove-it deal to see if he can get another bigger deal in the NFL. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I guess speaking of money and cap, I mean, that's something we're going to be going through with the off season here. Probably being some topics of episodes unto themselves. Cap casualties, players we probably want to cut to save cap space. But yeah, I think the Packers this year have to do a lot of work with their budget and contracts. So we're going to get into all that this year, this off season, but it's only January still. So we got a little bit yet. This weekend is the NFC AFC championship. I'm kind of like, okay. I'll root for the Seahawks, I guess. And maybe I can't even root for an AFC team.
I'm going to root for the Rams, Tay, because again, they're like, like a warm glass of milk. I mean, it's kind of like there. It's not great, but it'll put you to bed, I guess. Devontae's there. That's about it.
But then the Super Bowl, I'm less interested now that at least 3 of the 4 teams I don't really care about. But I'm used to that. I'm used to not even wanting to watch the Super Bowl. But we'll see. But we'll be back with more episodes when news comes available. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us along the way. Go follow us on socials. Head over to PackerUniverse.com to see our latest videos, and head over to our YouTube channel too. Follow us there, subscribe there. That would be much appreciated. Ren, thanks for joining me on a Thursday, which should have been a Wednesday, but hopefully it's a Wednesday later, right?
It's going to be a Friday tomorrow, Tay. But yeah, Tay, everybody out there in Packer Universe, go smash that subscribe on YouTube. We're looking to get there someday to that 1,000. That would be super awesome. That's what we look for every week. Just 1 or 2 extra. We appreciate it. We've been around since 2017. We do this at no charge because we're insane. And we just like to be gluttons of punishment here, Tay. But until episode 345 on the pup list.